Today is April 2nd. The Bucs lose 2 in a row to drop this series from the Reds. It's the first 3 games, guys. But you know we're going to talk about it anyway. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
How we doing, man?
You know, the regular.
Yeah.
Pirates dropping
I'm
another
kind of bummed
series.
that the Pirates are dropping another series. It's the first series.
See how quickly we go from year 2022 to 2023, and all of us just forget that there's only 6 players on this team from last year.
Yeah, that and the fact that I'm looking down through a lineup and I'm like, okay, he could get a hit here. He could get a hit here. He could get a hit here. There's one guy on this team that I'm like, yeah, I mean, who hits after Hedges? The other team. I mean, like, he's literally the only one, like our catchers. And that I feel way better about that. They haven't.
They haven't.
Three little games, but I feel okay. Like, I still feel like anytime they come up, they can get a hit. Yes, I even mean Connor Joe.
I mean, how could you not?
Right.
I think
hear all yins out there. I hear all yins out there talking about me hating him. I don't literally hate the guy. Okay. He's not terrible. I thought that Swaggerty earned it. And Connor Joe's a little older and hasn't done anything. So I'd rather see the young guys.
Okay. So, but it's out there, right?
Yeah.
And I would say this. I haven't, we made it clear. Jake's making it clear he doesn't hate him. I have said along this that he's a guy that will barely play. And then he starts 2 of these games. However, maybe there's a little bit of something there about riding a hot hand.
There could be. Shelton's good at that. You know, he does that. Shouldn't say good at that. He's good for that.
Yeah, except you know how they make their lineups. He says they make their lineup, you know what I mean? They make their lineups a week in advance and stuff like that. So I guess, he has the ability to make some changes there. However, you mentioned before we hit record about the fact that Graham Ashcraft's cutter is better against lefties. Yeah. And so that's kind of the deal there. They wanted to stack their righties against Ashcraft. Dude, he looked good. Those top 3 for the Reds is no joke.
Right.
They're young. They're going to have their bad starts. They're going to take their lumps, just like we have some guys that will. But they're no joke. We're seeing the Reds. I thought Hunter Green came up last year probably a year early, although for Pirates fans, there's a lot of us saying bring up these guys and let them work through it. I mean, Hunter Green had like a 4 something, like high 4 ERA last year. And it's like, let him work through it. Let him learn from it.
Yeah.
And some guys say, no, I'd rather, he had a 4.44 ERA last year in 24 starts. And the idea is like, they just let him come up and play. They let him come up and pitch.
But what was his, I'm not looking into the Reds stats. What was he doing in AAA? If he was dominating AAA, then yes, let him work through it at the major league level. If he's not dominating the minor leagues, then I wait or let him work through it down there.
He didn't
dominate the minor leagues.
He pitched 3 games. Wait. 2022, 3 games in 2022. Because I'm pretty sure he started the year last year with them. 2021, he did have 14 starts in AAA and had a 4.13 ERA. But ERA is not everything, right? He pitched 65 innings. He struck out 79. He walked 25. So over almost 11 strikeouts per 9. Still over 3 walks per 9. 8 hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there was some. He gave up 11 home runs in 65 innings. If you're kind of, that's a 1.5 home runs per 9. So that's not awful, right?
Right.
And he basically kept a lot of those numbers up when he pitched in the major leagues last year. So those numbers kind of stayed the same. 11.7 strikeouts per 9, so even more. But the same amount of walks, and the walks were his problem. He gave up less hits and slightly more home runs. So he did throw 1 complete game shutout. I mean, the thing is, the dude throws 102 miles an hour the whole time he's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the walks, it's the base runners. 125 innings last year, 164 strikeouts, walked 48, gave up 24 home runs. But they let him pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 22 years old. And, he's working through it. He's doing what he's doing. I don't know. Lodolo was a little bit of the same thing. They just said, we don't have anybody else, man. Come up.
Yeah.
And Ashcraft made his way there, and he's looking really good. And so the idea is, if this is what you do, and you just send him out there, then sure. I thought he was a little early, but by the numbers, maybe not. I mean, 4.44 ERA in today's game is not like, it's not awful.
Right.
You don't want your guys above 450, but they're not like useless until they're over a 5.
I would say like 3 through 5 in your rotation.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the Reds last year, a last place team.
1 and 2 guys. Right.
100. I mean, same record as us, right? But we got the season series. But either way, 100 loss team. I mean, I don't care what number I don't know. The point, I guess the idea is that those 3 guys are legit talent. Lodolo's breaking ball is ridiculous. Had our guys all over the place. Here's when you know it's good pitching and less of just like awful hitting. When you're scrolling through Twitter and the guy that you're facing keeps showing up on Pitching Ninja's account. You know what I'm saying? When you keep seeing Lodolo sliders, like the one that hit Hedges in the foot. It hit him, like, that's not embarrassing. That was a great pitch. Mm-hmm. It's just what happens. That's a back foot slider, right? It just actually went all the way there. It's not great, but it's Hedges, right? But the idea...
Unfortunately, it was Hedges.
Unfortunately for him, because I think that's what pushes that. It's not like it's Tony Wolters getting hit between the legs last year. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's easy to pick on certain guys, and it's fine if you want to. Like, hey, I'm here for it all. You know what I'm saying? keep doing it. It's fine. I'm not like complaining and trying to back up Hedges, but it is like there is a little bit of myself that wants to give credit where it's due. And we did have to face 3 really good pitchers for the Reds who will take their lumps, but they're also, they're going to be good legitimate. Too. Yeah, they're legit talent guys. I don't know what they have after that. Hopefully we don't have to run through 3 of them every single time.
Right.
However, we are also helping them out. Runners in scoring position we're not hitting again. And that's what I say from last year. It's weird. This is not the same Pirates team from last year. It is not the same guys, just like you just said. That when you look at the lineup, you're not like, well, forget this. We do just have some guys on this team who have a lot of swing and miss, and that is a problem with runners in scoring position. And it's going to have to get better, and that's what this year's about. Unfortunately, one of those guys is not a guy who's going to get better. Carlos Santana, I felt like these These are the moments you're here for.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't something I'm looking forward to getting things better from you.
Right. I am impressed with O'Neal Cruz so far. He's put some interesting swings on a couple balls. Okay. Runner at third. He's down 2 strikes. He slaps that ball pretty much
To the warning track.
to the warning track.
But the idea is he lifts.
He shortened up and he just did what he had to do to score a run.
Exactly.
I think it was another 2-strike count. He kind of slapped that ball up the middle, got a run in.
RBI single.
RBI. Just do what you got to do to get a run across the board. I'm impressed with him so far. He's seems to be making adjustments.
Yeah, it's definitely looked a little bit different. He got a hit in all 3 games. Even today with all the runners and scoring, 14 guys left on base. Only 1 was him. Santana leaves 4 guys on base. That's a big thing. Bay left a couple. Maybe Bay was getting starts. If they're even adjusting I don't think they're adjusting these lineups day to day like that. But he had a great game the first game, and then the next 2 games, it's more of what we saw in the spring. He's swinging out. He swung at a pitch on Saturday that would have been a high ball to Cruz. And I don't know what he's doing. And it's sometimes like a couple of his swings looks like he's swinging out of his shoes. And I can't.
He was having a really good at bat today or Sunday, and he was fouling a bunch of pitches off. And then it was another. I didn't get to watch the game on Saturday, so I don't know if you misspoke or if he did this on Saturday and Sunday, but a pitch that would have been high to Cruz.
Okay, maybe
he
it
swings
was
at. I didn't see his at bats on Saturday, so he possibly could have, but
yeah, today it was just the 1 strikeout, 0 for 3, left a couple guys on base. But on Saturday, getting to play center field because of the lefty, they went with him, and I'm like, you could have went with Sawinski. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Left a couple guys on base again, and go ahead.
He's not a bad outfielder, but he is not a starting outfielder on this. We have too many outfielders for him to be getting starts in center field. I just don't. I don't agree with it.
Sure, and I don't know. To me, Bay getting to start all 3 games is really interesting. Connor Joe, I'll go for it. Like, he didn't look bad. I don't mind that he gets a few more starts right now over top of Sawinski, especially when you have Lodolo on the mound. And then I didn't know that about Ashcraft until you said it. And, so that makes sense to me. Sawinski's not seeing the ball right now. I'm okay with him sitting in those tough situations, especially Lodolo. But I don't know. Interesting to go with Bay all 3 games. I felt like he didn't really do anything to earn that, other than on opening day, he was electric. Yeah. And I guess that's where you're at. I could say the same for Castro. He could just show up and hit a big 3-run homer that could make a big difference, and he wasn't able to do that on Saturday when he played. He got the pinch hit today, but 2 strikeouts, left 5 guys on Saturday, and it seemed like that was part of it too. And man, dude, we're fans, right? So we're rooting for these guys, and I'm rooting for Castro in these scenarios because he has the potential to be so dangerous.
Yeah.
And the power is real for him, but it's not going to matter if he can't put bat to ball more often. And that's the whole thing. And that's the Sawinski thing too. And this isn't an overreaction. This is going to continue. This conversation could change tomorrow. Both those guys could show up, play in Boston, and go 2 for 4 with a couple homers between the 2 of them. And you know what I mean? It's not like you're going to say, okay, they figured it out. It's still only 1 game. Any of this stuff, you could have a bad guy have 1 good game, and you could have a good player have even a series of bad games. Like, this is just 3 games, but this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to break them down and see how these stories progress. And Castro is one that I'm really watching because what I saw from Bay on opening day could be very important in a season like this. And I know that you're wanting to bring a little I told you so up right now, right?
I don't like I told you so's, but I mean, guys are running. I mean, stolen bases are through the roof. Spring training, they were successful on a 90% clip. Like, that's insane. And there
But
was a lot of them.
spring training,
And
but I thought you were talking about just the first 4 days of the season.
specifically, opening day last year, there were 7 games. Stolen bases attempts were at 9, 5 successful. Just on opening day alone to this year, I wrote it down over here. 21 of 23 stolen bases. That's 15
that's
games.
significant.
That's 15 games.
Double the games.
Double the games.
Oh, so
but
barely.
Still,
up.
double the games. You're 10 for 18 if you just double the ratio.
Oh, even saying successful attempts. So, because that matters, because you're saying if they ran barely more, but the success rate was way higher, it might continue to increase.
Yeah, you're talking about, a lot higher.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the math right now, but it's a lot higher.
I got you. Yeah, that's fair.
And then
the attempts haven't really increased a whole lot yet. Because with the games, if you put those up, you're only like.
But that was one of the stats that was brought up though. Spring training, it was 90%, and they were running a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to continue, and the attempts are going to be more.
Yeah,
I thought we were in a spot today. Cruz should have tried to take second base. I mean, we got to get him moving a little bit.
Well, you're not the only one to say that too, and I question that. So when McCutcheon's up, if Cruz, so I'm always going back to the risk. If Cruz gets thrown out stealing, then McCutcheon needs a base hit. If Cruz stays at first and Kutch hits a fly ball, we get a run out of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't want Cruz getting thrown out there and then taking away a productive out. And so I'm kind of and maybe this is something that has to be broke because the risk is so small now. And maybe that's the case. If we can prove that risk is small, I don't know what it does. What did Kutch do in that at bat? He popped out to shallow outfield. Yeah. Nothing changes.
Right.
It's still going to be second and third, and then Santana just grounds out to first. So nothing changes in that scenario. You didn't gain anything if he would have taken second. And
possibly, but the scenario isn't the same.
That's fair, but
it's
just another runner in scoring position that we leave out there.
Could be. It could be. Even on Reynolds' fly ball, the throw went home. I forget who was it on. It was on third. Was it Castro? Was that his pinch hit for Hedges?
Yes. Wait, no. Wait.
I'm pretty sure.
I have Saturday's lineup up. I'm like, none of that makes sense. Okay. Yes, Castro would have been on.
Castro broke like he was going to go. Throw came all the way into home. Cruz didn't advance. We got to do better.
Yeah, but it went right between the legs of the cutoff man. He could have just. The only reason he didn't cut it off, I know the conversation even with the guys on TV, but if Cruz runs, he cuts it off. It went right beside him. He just let it go because Cruz wasn't running, so he didn't care. Now, it was still risky. He should have cut it off.
Yeah, he should have cut it off.
He should have cut it off either way.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
But if you go back, I don't even think Cruz tagged up.
No, he probably went halfway. There was nobody out. He should have went halfway. You don't tag up on a fly ball. If he drops that, then you have risk. You're risking getting out a second.
Not that deep. He probably still goes first to third.
If he's halfway.
If he tags up.
Oh, there's no way. It's not like he was on the run when he caught it. He was camped.
Yeah, well, as soon as you see he's camped, go tag.
I don't know. I see that, but that's not what you. you're halfway there, and I don't think that things happen that. I don't think you're getting all the way back there and then turning around and running and still making it all the way to third.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're halfway. You go back now. Once he catches it, though, you get all the way back. If that ball gets through, then you're looking to, you know what I'm saying? Then you're looking to run, but it has to kick away from that catcher in order for you to get there. So, yeah, I saw a lot of that too. After the Reynolds, right? When Kutch was up, I saw a lot of that too. Cruz should be running here. And I'm not disagreeing with it entirely. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't have called for that because I don't want to take away. Now, if there's one out all day long, if there's nobody out all day long, I'll run on that because you don't take away the ability for Kutch to hit that sac fly. And
so would you have thought about stealing during Reynolds at bat?
Yeah, I think then I would think about it. So if you're there, I think I do. Yeah. Especially right now, and here's the other thing, like, I just trust McCutchen more often to say, I need to lift the ball. I'll lift it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I just trust him as a veteran and as a guy like that he's going to hit a fly ball.
And he did, just not
far enough. Yeah, but he's not going to roll into your double play is what I'm saying. Like, so I'm less concerned about eliminating the double play, where even right now, like, Santana's a double play possibility. He's hitting a lot on the ground. So I get running there, but I also, like, with a guy on third, it's hard. You know what I mean? Now you need a base hit no matter what.
Yeah.
With 2 outs. So there's no reason to risk that when you have a guy in scoring position. As the season goes, my mind is probably going to be changed on that. Right? Because I'm thinking of this in risk. And if the risk is minimal, we run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so maybe that's it. Maybe you create something else. I mean, he steals. If he throws it into center field, you get an easy run. You didn't even have to hit the ball. So, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios that can play there. I heard a lot of people saying Cruz should be running here. And you know what I mean? I get it. I get the scenario. With 1 out, I'm just saying you eliminate the ability to have a productive out. But I think that's a good thought. I'd love to hear what everybody else has to say about that, because that is going to be something that's going to develop as the year goes. If we're stealing bases better, then, you know, by all means, let's do it. I mean, we had a little bit of luck that inning. Like, Castro and Cruz both, those were bloop hits that don't necessarily fall all the time. And we haven't been getting those go our way. And then all of a sudden, you know, you got India just couldn't get there. And then I'm not sure what happened in left field. Like, they should have had that play. I think India's was a little out of his reach. And I know that Walk said he gator armed it, but he didn't get there.
Yeah.
He didn't get to that ball.
Yeah. I saw, like, Newman was calling for it. And then the last minute, was it
Fraley? Was Fraley out there at the time? Yeah.
Whoever it was out there.
Yeah, Fraley was playing left.
Yeah, anyway, he kind of called it last minute, then just didn't catch it.
Yeah, I thought that they should have, but
he had to, like, dive for it, but he didn't dive fully because Newman peeled off to the side that he thought was right. I'm not saying, but whatever. Still, it's a hit, book. Line drive in the book.
So Bay went back to center field in that game too. Connor Joe went into first base in all these changes. Delay went in for Santana after he made the last out. So there was a lot of moving parts there in that last inning. And I just find it very strange that Bay doesn't play center field till the last 2 games of the spring. Excuse me. And we've seen him out there twice already.
Yeah.
I was convinced that this wasn't even an option.
Like, I just don't, like, in that situation, I guess you needed a first baseman.
Yeah, Joe comes out of left to go to first. Choi's already the DH, so they're putting in a catcher. They don't want to put Delay in Hedges' spot and take Castro out when, like, he could possibly be getting up with a big at bat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then you're back to the same scenario. Yeah, I think that's the move.
See, and that's like one of the
that's the thing that makes Joe
scenarios.
Good. Yeah.
Well, no, not just Joe, but that's one of the rare scenarios where I understand putting Bay in center field.
Well, you still had Smith and Jigba. You still had Swinsky. They're both on the bench. If you didn't have him going out there, you still could have just subbed him in for somebody else and put him out there. Like that would have been fine too. However, actually, Brian Reynolds went to center field, and Brian Reynolds started in center.
Right.
He moved to left. Now I get it. To put Bay in center. Yeah. Okay. They're gonna move a lot. It's gonna be. Okay, so now's a good time to remind everybody about lineups.
How many did we use last year?
I forget the number, but if you guys go back to episode 104, it's right around the 5-minute mark we start getting into it, but this came up this week and somebody had referenced it, so this is a good time to do it. We talked all about the lineups, how much they're going to change throughout the season, how much they did change throughout the season, and we also made it very clear that this is not a Derek Shelton thing. This is an MLB trend. It's based on analytics. No one runs the same lineup every day. It doesn't happen. What was the most common? The team that ran the most common lineup out there the most days, I think it was like 8, right?
Yeah, it was something really low. It was not double digits.
8 times the most common lineup, and it was 2 different teams, I think. But go back and listen to that if you're a new listener to the podcast and you didn't catch that, or you just didn't catch that episode where we talked about lineups. If you're upset about Derek Shelton's lineups, go ahead and be upset about the rest of MLB. I'm not telling you not to be upset about it. Like, your opinion's your opinion. I love it. I don't particularly like it. Jake's a big non-fan of it. But the idea is that this is what they're doing, and I think it's good that we know that kind of stuff because we like to blame certain people for things. Derek Shelton has his things that we don't like. But he's doing them for on purpose. It's not because he's bad. It's because he has maybe a bad opinion. if you want to call it a bad opinion, right? Because it's an opinion. It can be good for one guy and bad for another.
Right.
But it's the same thing when it comes down to whether or not he gets thrown out of a game. He just doesn't think that it does anything. So I don't know. He doesn't like to do it. I'm sitting here saying, go defend your player. And if he doesn't think that that's important, the scenario is not going to change it, right?
Right.
You're just saying, as a whole, I wish he would do it more, not why didn't he do it today? He didn't do it today. Not that there was a scenario today, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he doesn't do it, period. So just have a problem with the fact that he doesn't do it. And the lineup thing, I'm not telling you not to have a problem with it, but it's not a Derek Shelton thing. Let's not get into him.
Not.
It's a everybody thing.
Yeah.
And there are people, and just to say, Cruz hitting in the 6 hole against the tough lefty. He's still in the lineup.
Mm-hmm. He
ended up facing him 3 times, but maybe there's a scenario where he only faces him twice and he gets to the bullpen for that 3rd at bat. That would have been great. And whatever. But it's the same sort of thing. I will also say, because we had a little bit of Twitter conversation about this again, because somebody else kind of brought us into it and said that we talked about it on another episode. And they made the point that players do care. Some players care. Some players say, I'm going to do what I do no matter where you put me. I don't think that that's as common as it used to be. I think the hitters are growing accustomed to this as well. They understand. They've probably been dealing with this for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And to me, that's the Cruz batting 6th too. I certainly don't mind Hayes jumping up to lead off against the lefty and dropping Cruz. I don't know if him hitting 6th is necessarily the case behind Connor Joe, but what did Connor Joe do to make us doubt it is go out there and get 2 hits. Actually, he only got the 1, but it was an RBI. But he had some good at bats, and he had 2 more hits today. So, you know what I mean? This is the kind of thing. He's our worst player. And he's hitting outside of catchers, right? Outside of catchers, let's talk about that. But he's the guy on the bottom of the roster as far as what I think most of us would think.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up, and this should be a sign of things that we like on this team. Now, I will also clarify that maybe he's not. In the end of the day, he might not be. At the end of the year, we might look at the stats and say he definitely wasn't the worst because we don't know what we're going to get from guys like Castro, Bay, and Sawinski right now. Like, those are three guys in a serious question. Like, they've got to figure some things out. Yeah. You hope to get flash in the pan stuff from Bay on opening day, but like what you saw in the next two games was what we saw all spring. Non-competitive at bats. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you got. That's what you're going to get out of Castro and Sawinski right now too. It feels like is non-competitive at bats. Those aren't going to last. At least we hope they don't. Because these guys have potential to be better. Their ceilings are much higher than a ceiling of Connor Joe. And the fact that Connor Joe's the guy that we're pulling off the bench, I mean, he's not Van Meter. He's not Cole Tucker. He's not Yoshi. He's not Hoy Park. Like, this is a better put together team.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good sign. And I think you're right there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're about halfway through here. Let's get into pitching because we haven't even touched it yet. And I think we've kind of broke down the games about as much as I care to at this point. But I really want to get into these two starting pitchers. We've already talked about opening day. So if you want to hear kind of the Mitch Keller and all that stuff, go back on Friday's episode and check that out. But we had Rich Hill start his first game with us and Vince Velasquez start his today. And then, there was some bullpen goods and bads. Obviously, everything that happened in today's game was a little bit better than what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Saturday, Rich Hill starts off giving up the home run to India, which, by the way, would not have been a home run at PNC Park. Just to throw that out there. But like to say that he didn't earn it, I mean, he still hit it 102 off the bat. He still hit it pretty good. If you saw the graphic during the game, you probably didn't see this. There was a wind graphic during the game, and it's like, oh, wind's blowing 23 miles an hour out to left field. But when they showed the wind, like it really wasn't. It was like a cyclone inside of that stadium. It was really kind of an interesting graphic because I thought, oh yeah, all these balls are just going to get blown up. But it was kind of like it almost fought against it at one point, but then I have no idea what the wind actually did to the ball that day. It just, because it was like a circle. I've never seen anything like it. But some stadiums just don't have that effect. Like Wrigley, when it's blowing out, like it's blowing out.
Yeah.
Lecom Park in spring training, it blows out. You know what I mean? And so this didn't seem to have that effect. However, we just have a big left field in PNC, so it wouldn't have went out there. Kevin Newman's, on the other hand, was out no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
And he absolutely smoked that ball. And I blame every Pittsburgh Pirates fan who looked at the lineup for the Reds and said, what a joke. He's your DH. And then it was I can't believe you have him batting lead or batting DH. And then the floods of them saying, watch him hit a home run now. And he did just that. We're all guilty of it. It's perfectly fine. It is all our fault.
Yeah.
Everybody along with myself who said he's definitely going to hit a home run in this game.
Yeah.
It was, just smoked. But then he doesn't give up any more runs. He gives up 3 hits. He walks a couple. He ends up with 7 strikeouts. The drop sidearm, he kind of settled in and really just didn't look all that bad. And then Chase DeYoung comes in the game. And then the hate for Chase DeYoung, right? Because we didn't see, it was not good. He didn't look good. He didn't throw good. A walk, a strikeout, gave up the home run. And just, it was what we expected to see from DeYoung last year before we saw what we saw.
Yeah.
we had these concerns coming into the season. Is he going to be able to do what he did last year? And we made the comment that hey, even if he does like half of what he did last year, like he had a 2.60 something ERA or whatever it was, if he ends up with a 3.60, like I'm still going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Time will tell. What he did last year, while it didn't look good in any statistic except for ERA, it still happened. So he's going to get a look. And he's earned a look.
And it's going to be an extended look.
That's all you have?
It's going to have to be, it's going to have to be pretty bad in order for him to get like.
It's going to have to be a bunch of what you just saw.
Yeah.
And it might not be quite that way. As a result, maybe not as a result, that's not what I want to say. To add to that, we just claimed another reliever from Detroit, optioned him to AAA, and put Brubaker on the 60-day. Edwin Ucita. This is not like yeah, man, we got that guy. But it is like if DeYoung gets to a point where like Stevenson's coming back not too long ago, if DeYoung's the guy they say, hey, man, you haven't been effective, we're going to bring him back. And we don't want to send Moretta down. Or we don't want, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then, maybe DeYoung, I mean, he has no options. He's going to go on waivers. You lose a relief pitcher at that point.
Yeah.
So getting Ucita kind of like in the mix there is just another arm. You need depth. You need to have a lot of pitching, especially in the bullpen. And so this is a guy who, may never come up, but he also could be one of those types. We need a guy for this weekend, and then, somebody's hurt.
And figure it out.
We're getting somebody else out. We need a guy for the weekend. You bring up a guy like him. Like, that's exactly what this move is about. So, that's that. Jose Hernandez did throw, and I thought it was good Saturday. Like, it was good. He looked decent. Maybe he turns into,
Yeah,
if I could get some of those, if I could get some of those from him, we'll be all right. And then go ahead and tell me about, first off, Vince Velasquez started today. And I have to say, it's got to be tough sometimes to be Greg Brown. I'm gonna have a little sympathy for him at this point. Like his job is to talk good about things, regardless of what he thinks. He can be critical sometimes of things that happen on the field, and he should be able to be critical of those. I think sometimes he even sugarcoats those, and I don't think he has to do that as much as he does. I think he does sugarcoat some things that are going on during the game that he doesn't have to. But as far as things like the fact that Vince Velasquez is there at all, like it's his job to find good things about him and bring them up to try to make sure that the fans that are watching are okay with it. Like those of us who know can see through what he's saying and say, Greg Brown thinks this guy's good. Look at the way he's saying, but that's his job.
Yeah.
Like that's his job to say those things. So I mean, like, I'm not going to fault him for that. He might think the guy's junk. He's not going to say that. Or he's not going to have a job.
Right.
So he's doing his best. I will say this. Athleticism, I'm not going to doubt. Like, the guy's chiseled. He looks in great shape. And they showed those clips of him playing left field. Like, those were legit plays.
Yeah.
And the ball that hit off his arm and he just throws the guy out with his left hand. Like, these are things that, like, that doesn't mean he can pitch. But they are impressive in their own right, and what they are, that's fine. He's not going to do those things that much. Those aren't things that you count on.
Right.
But I don't mind them showing that. Those are cool things.
Yeah, they're interesting. Some of those are interesting. Like the story he told about when he was in high school. Couldn't pitch because he had bone chips or something. He went out and played center field left-handed.
I didn't actually even hear that one.
He played center field left-handed.
So there's some folklore here going on with Vince Velasquez.
He is ambidextrous. Like,
yeah,
he's amphibious.
So the thing is how does his start go? Tell me how his start goes. Okay. What did you see?
I mean, it was I saw a lot of luck.
Mm.
He got a, I think he got a strikeout. It was a 3-2 pitch. I can't remember who was hitting. I think it was a lefty, so it wasn't Will Myers, but I was
Either
thinking
way.
it was Will Myers. Either way, right down the middle, 94, middle, swing and a miss. That's luck
Yeah.
at the big league level. Like if it was 98, not so much luck and just like
Yeah, sometimes you
kind
can
of a
blow it by
prayer.
a guy. Yep.
It's a I'm doing this on purpose and hoping he misses swings through a 98-mile-an-hour fast. But 94, like these guys hit that all the time.
Yeah.
So there were some of those, but I mean, overall, you can't really complain. I mean, a couple solo shots shouldn't kill you. Your offense has got to do better. But yeah, I mean, it was all I can say is okay. It was okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he goes out there to try to get through the 5th inning, and he gets 2 outs, and he gives up the homer. And it looked like if he can get Friedel out, he can get through 5. And he just couldn't, and that was kind of it for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't get the opportunity to get out of that. But he had really settled in, after good first inning kind of thing, gave up the home, but you give up 2 homers, you know what I'm saying? He gives up the homer. Mm-hmm. He gets he walks the guy in the 3rd inning. And then the ground ball that Cruz slides for, or did he actually slide? He went down for it. I mean, it was a tough play, right? And you want him to make that play. If he fields it and doesn't kick it into the outfield, he stops a run.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be a hit. It is Stevenson running, so possibly with Cruz's arm, he might be able to throw him out. But either way, if he doesn't get to that ball, it goes into the outfield for a regular base hit. He makes a good play on it, gets a glove on it, but just can't keep it in front of him. If he doesn't get to it, it just goes to left field. It's a base hit that scores a run. So I'm not going to be too hard on Cruz for that play.
No.
When you're making an extra effort for a play, I just want, even if you don't get the out, if he could just prevent the run right there, that's what you need from your shortstop. Because that's a ball that he can get to. I mean, because he got to it. He just didn't quite field it as cleanly as you want. Even if he doesn't get the out, he can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just prevent that run.
Still prevent that run. But either way, a lot of balls just left out, a lot of line drives off the bats. And so even though he was getting through innings and like ultimately it's not that bad, if he gets through the 5th inning, if he gets through that 5th inning with just the 2 runs, you kind of feel like, all right, if this is going to work, I mean, if you're going to give up home runs, it's going to be at Cincinnati, right?
Right.
So maybe it gets better. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it gets a lot worse. You get against a better hitting team, and they're not going to miss those as much.
Yeah.
But then again, hitting's very hard, so maybe they will. So Strisny gets him out of the inning, kind of. I mean, he gives up the hit, and he walks a guy, but he gets out of it, right?
Yeah.
Was the walk did they put him on purpose? Because I totally missed that.
I honestly, I don't remember Strisny pitching.
He came, here it is. Yeah, he was intentionally walked. So the Fraley double off of Strisny, and then they walk Stevenson. This is after the Friedel home run. And then he gets Volsler, guy I never heard of, who's hit a home run. So 2 of them, right? 2 of them. He had one the other day too. Come on. How are you going to let this guy? Fraley did. It was Fraley, not Volsler on Saturday.
Yeah, he's one of the many first basemen that the Giants went through last year.
Okay. I thought maybe they just went out and got a JV since Votto couldn't play for the first time in 15 years. But
yeah, that was number 1 on their priority list, was to make sure they got the same initials.
That's what I was thinking, just to try to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, man.
So anyway, I do have here. Is this today's game? Vince Velasquez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hard hits against him. Now, Graham Ashcraft, also 6 hard hits, 7 hard hits against him. However, he was able to get through 7 innings.
Yeah.
And that's what plays hard. Will Crow, he kind of got out of one. Great catch by Kutch. Connor Joe makes the play, or else he doesn't get out of that inning clean. Underwood in the 8th ended up, started off bad, but he ended up having a scoreless inning. So ultimately today, that game was winnable. 3 runs, just a lot of guys on base. Saturday, let it get away from us a little bit. DeYoung kind of canned that one. Rich Hill, once again, for Velasquez and Hill, almost 5 innings. This is early season. 3 runs is okay for a start, but you want to get at least through the 5th. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we couldn't do that. Well, I mean, Hill did. Hill got through the 5th. So that's it. We're just gonna have to keep that. We're gonna have to keep this. They got away with it. If these 2 guys can get us 3 runs and keep us, I mean, that's keeping you in the game. Neither one of them got blown up.
No.
If they can stay around there and hopefully get through the 5th that way, maybe the 6th, then what else do you expect? The only problem with that is like, we can't say that about everybody. Mitch Keller can't be the only one that we expect better from.
Correct.
So Oviedo and Roanzi have got to step up this week.
In a big way.
In a big way.
I want to see a good.
Yeah, and they're going to Boston. We're starting off with two stadiums that have cheap home runs. So, you know what I mean? It's just the way it goes. Maybe we'll have a little bit of luck. I mean, you have to have luck in baseball, so maybe we'll get some.
Yeah. I do want to throw this out there real quick. Sorry, I know I was kind of looking off. I'm trying to
you're good.
Box scores. Dwayne Underwood Jr. I think I'm at the point where I'm ready to cut this guy a little bit of slack. I think I texted you during the WBC, and who the heck did he play for?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. I said, is Yadier crazy? You said, why? I said, he's throwing Dwayne Underwood Jr. in the 8th inning.
Mm-hmm.
He faced Dwayne Underwood Jr. He knows what he does in the 8th inning. Well, we put him in the 8th inning. I mean, last year was last year. Let's leave it last year. Let's turn the page.
So the 8th inning, though, the 8th inning rub I have on him is based on career numbers, not just last year. I was saying this going into last year, and he's continued to do it. Say what you want here, but like what I'm looking at is Volsler leading off. He has a 3-1 count on him. That's what that is, right? Nope, that's the score, 3-1. Where's the count? It doesn't actually give it to me here. I was like, did he have a 3-1? No, he didn't have a 3-1 count to everybody. Sorry about that. I don't have it then. I don't have the pitch by pitch here. I thought that was giving me innings, outs, who's on base. Okay. He gets a line out by Kevin Newman, a line out or a line drive single by India. Friedel, nope, hold on.
2 strikeouts.
Volser doubled. Now we got it. Myers struck out. Spencer Steer grounded out to shortstop. And then he got Benson to strike out. So he struck out where's the 3rd out? Oh, the ground out, yeah. Oh, that was the dumb moment there.
But he's getting did he give up a run?
No, he didn't give up a run. He just gave up that's what I'm saying. He gave up the double to start off the inning, and then he settled in, and he was okay. A ground out, 2 strikeouts. Like, that's what I'm saying. He ended up fine.
I understand the gripe in the eighth inning, and I'm still leery about it. But I'm also I I'm a fan of this team. I'm a fan of the people on it. I want him to succeed, and I'm gonna wish good things on him right now. I'm not saying,
100%.
"Oh crap, here we go." I'm
Right.
not. It is what it is. This is who we have. We don't want to overwork our bullpen like we did last year. We're going to be giving some different guys looks, I hope, in different situations. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't
Hmm.
and we weren't winning. Like we didn't put him in the eighth inning with the lead. We didn't put him like I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I think he's been better. Not so much in the spring, but at the WBC he was good. He's been able to put together some good innings.
8 of 15
I'm
were strikes. Well, we're in the strike zone. They swung at 9 of his pitches, so. Wow, this is pretty crazy. Savant takes you into so many things. Just one. It says one of his were hit hard into fair territory. That was the double. So anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Give him an opportunity, right?
mm-hmm.
He's a guy that will give you innings. There's that for sure, and those are very important on a team like this. So
Yeah, and if he does happen to fail, it's okay. I mean, I'm sure the team's just going to move on
right.
eventually.
I mean, even if he does well, I think they move on after this year, but we'll see. All right, we do have to talk one more thing here before we wrap it up, and that is the crazy saga of the Brian run. I mean, it's just stupid if we don't talk about it a little bit. And basically, just give me your take here. Hit a home run today. Do you think this is something that gets announced right before the home opener for PR reasons? Do you think it includes this opt-out?
Yeah, I'm just for me it's a 100% guess. Like I have no idea. I think a deal gets done by opening day or home opener. Um I'm not
They
sold on the opt-out clause. Like I feel like they're just having a staring contest right now. Like everything that pops up is just like no new news, no new news.
No, because right now that's where we're sitting.
Yeah.
I think the Pirates are going to have to up the money in order to get rid of that opt-out clause. And they should. I mean,
They should, yeah.
That's where I'm at. I would much rather you pay him more money and not have the opt-out clause. I just think that's because the fact is the Pirates are saying, if we do the opt-out clause, we're going to have to backload this thing. And then he's like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Well, I don't understand that. Of course you're fine with that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be fine with that? I think it's a lose-lose situation for the Pirates here. If you front load it, he's opting out no matter what.
Yeah.
If you backload it, then if he regresses or gets injured and he's not as good, he'll definitely take it, and then you have to pay him.
Yeah.
4 years on a bad deal. If you stretch it straight across the board without loading it either way, I think that's probably your best bet, because then you're not paying him as much if he is bad. And I don't know. You have to put it two ways. If you're a good team, he doesn't opt out. Maybe that. If you have a postseason appearance in the first 4 years, then the opt out goes away. Something like that. I don't really know. Why would the player ever sign that? Just give him more money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sign that as a player.
I mean, also if you have the opt out clause, you're betting on your organization as well. You're going to want to stick around for this.
If you front load the deal, this is the only scenario I would think. If you front load the deal, pay him now when you don't have a bunch of money going out. Front load the deal. If you think he's going to opt out after year 4 because he's been unbelievable and he's getting no money after that, trade him. You know what I'm saying? That's your best way. Yeah. Now the team that gets him gets an opportunity to renegotiate before he opts out, and they can sign him long term. You got one of their best prospects in the process. You got something for it. Front load that deal, knowing he's going to opt out, if he regresses, he won't opt out, and you don't have to pay him as much.
Yeah.
That's the only way I say you do it.
I
And
don't know if
either
there's
way,
any situation.
you get an opportunity to renegotiate as well.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any scenario they could even if you can get that opt out pushed back another year. You're
Well, I think
guaranteeing
that's
2 extra years
I think that's the
instead of
big
just
thing.
the one.
If it's because it's 4 years, so you're splitting
Starting this year.
Starting this year, so you're splitting it right in half.
Mm-hmm.
So you only get 1 year of his free agency in that case.
Right.
And then he goes to the open market if he opts out. And the way I see it is you have an opportunity to renegotiate. If he's really good and he gets MVP votes and all that stuff, you renegotiate and you pay him more in those back 4 and make him guaranteed money that he can't opt out of.
Yeah.
If he regresses at all, if he regresses at all, then you trade him. If he stays the same, you probably trade him too. I don't know. Why wouldn't you just buy yourself 4 more years, front load that deal, give yourself 4 more years, and then knowing that the back half of that contract is only going to be opted in if he's not good.
Yeah.
And so you have your opportunity in 4 years to trade him or not, but you don't lose anything. He deserves that money right now anyway.
Yeah.
Front load that thing and go from there. And to me, that would be the way to do it, not to backload it.
Right.
I know that because I know you say like, well, if you backload it, he's guaranteed going to opt out. That's fine. Give yourself 4 more years. He has the ability to have that comfort that if he's not good, he can still get paid for 4 more years. And you're not going to have to pay him a premium money. I think that's fine. Right? Mm-hmm. But if he is really good, you have 4 years. You can renegotiate. Get those 4 years guaranteed, pay him the same you just paid him. Or if you're not going to, trade him before it gets to that point. There's not a no trade clause in there. If you backload that thing, it's horrible for the Pirates.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see a way where it ends up good.
Right. I agree with that.
I guess if you backload it, you still could do the trade. You still could just have him for the 4 years, still trade him if you think he's gonna get out of it. The only problem is you're running that risk that if he's bad, then you're gonna overpay him for 4.
Yeah.
So for me, I front load, but I don't really even know if that's an option. Here's the thing. These things are never easy. We have never, to my knowledge, even known discussions like this.
Right.
This is unreal, the peek inside that we've had to these negotiations. I would imagine all of them are this difficult.
Yeah. And
we just don't have, it's just because of all the stuff that's gone on that we even know it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the way it feels to me.
To me, I think we know about it because I think the organization kind of wants the Pirate fan base right now to know we're trying.
Oh, there's no doubt. Anytime
that's all it is.
Yeah, you're right. And anytime something's leaking, the only things that are going to leak are going to be the things like if it's making Reynolds look good, it was leaked by CAA. If it makes the Pirates look good, it was leaked by the Pirates because that's what they're doing. They're just trying to make them not look like the bad guy. You know what I mean? And that's
not even not look like a bad guy or look like the good guy. Either way, I think they just want the Pirate fan base to see, hey, not that we hear you, but we hear you. Like, we're not necessarily basing our things on the fan base, but we do want to let you know as a fan base, we're trying to get something done.
Yeah, I could see that. I also think Nutting really does want to get something done.
I do too.
When he steps in, that doesn't mean he's willing to put the money out there, but I think that's what he wants. He just thinks, dude, that's a cheap deal. Technically new money, it's 7 years, $100 million. You're just going to have to go further than that. You don't think you have to go that much further. You have to go further. We can't pretend like that's going to be enough. Both sides have met somewhere in the middle. There's been a little bit more, like Reynolds is not budging on years, but he's budging on money. The Pirates are not budging as much on money, but they've gone to the 8 years, technically, counting this year, 8 years. but even 7. They were at 6 before. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of give and take, but I think when Reynolds said, if I'm going that far down, I throw in an opt-out, it was like, all you got to do is just get closer on the money.
Mm-hmm.
At least back that opt-out out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make it 4 years of the new 7, or make it 3 years. Like with 5 years, and make those last 2 years an opt-out. Something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a good move on Reynolds' part either. He's too old at that point. You need to opt out when he's trying to opt out. That's when he would need to hit the market. Like, that makes sense. Not in the contract, it doesn't, but age-wise, he needs to hit it then. So I just more money is the only answer. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. We have got 3 against Boston, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday night games, and then a day game on Wednesday, Thursday off, and then it's the home opener, and we're trying to get something pretty cool for the home opener episode. If you saw the Twitter, we want your home opener stories. So hit me up on Twitter, and so we can kind of get that in there. I just realized it wasn't easy to download videos from Twitter, so once I get that figured out, I can get those. But we want to hear from you guys about the home opener. I think there's a whole different level of excitement around that compared to opening day. And so we're going to talk about that on Friday's episode. Other than that, we got some work to do here.
Yeah.
Let's go play well against Boston.
A buddy of mine down here is a big Boston Red Sox fan, so we'll be talking some smack back and forth. This should be a good time.
All right, that's good.
Hopefully we get to go back and forth with it.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, that's all we have for this week, guys. Let's go Bucs.
Let's go Bucs.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs!